All right, today we're excited to show you our rental features in coreSTORE, and specifically we're going to show you how to set up a range for renting lanes. So the first step is to make sure that you enable rental items. If you go to the store configuration and click your jump to, go down to items, and if you scroll all the way towards the middle here, you'll see that there's a checkbox that says rental items. So that's the first step. Just check that box. The other important feature is to turn on your grid. The grid is in the sales screen, and when you turn on the grid, it actually shows you buttons on the screen for any category. So let's scroll down here, and you'll see we have a couple of options. Always show item grid. And again, the grid is just the top of the sales screen. It will show you buttons. You can hide out of stock items in the grid. You can choose the default for what the buttons show. Are they going to show categories or tags? So in this case, we chose categories. And there are a couple of other options. You can hide the grid type option if you want to. All right, so once you set that up, make sure to hit your save. And then let's jump over to our inventory. And the first thing we want to do is go to Manage Categories and set up a new category. And you may already have one for your range rental. So I think I've got range bags. I'm just doing a find, range finders. And here's our range rental. So if I edit that just to show you what I put in here, I just put a category name of range rental. I can choose a parent category if I want to. And I specifically chose a category color. And in this case, I chose a green color to show me what lanes are open. And what's important is to make sure to check the rentals box on the category. And that just tells the system that any item in this category is a rental item. Okay, you can hit save. So that's the second step. So the third step is actually setting up your rental items. Now again, I've got my rental items set up here. If I just type in range lane, you'll see here's all my lanes that are set up. In this case, I've set up 6 lanes. Once you set up one, this is a really good tip. Click that button and clone the item. That way you don't have to type everything in again. So set up the one lane and then just clone each one. So let me tell you about my lanes. I just set up the item name, the category. There's really not much more information that you need to put in if you want to put in a description, but you'll see some new fields. And this new field is important. What color do you want to use when that lane is being rented? Okay, so once you choose that color, make sure to go to pricing. And if you scroll down, you'll see you can set up different rental pricing. So in this example, I'm actually setting up 2 price points. So I put in a cost. If you want to track a cost on your lane, you can do that. And I put in a $10 per every 10 minutes. So basically it's a $60 per hour. So if it was $30 per hour, I would reduce that to 5. And again, if they rent it for more than 2 hours, I'm going to give them a break and put in the price of 4. Okay, but we'll leave it because I already have all my lanes set up and I don't want to go and change every single one of them. All right, so again, this is where you set up your pricing. And you can add different rental rates. Now, currently we support the per minute. We do have a drop down here, and we will be supporting hourly, daily, weekly, and monthly rental rates. But for now, set it up by the minute. All right, so now we've set everything up. We're ready to start renting. Again, use that clone item, especially if you're a range with 30 or more or 20 or more lanes. It's really quick to set up all of your lanes. Now I can go into my sales screen and we'll see what happens. So when I click on my register, you'll immediately notice that not only are my buttons showing, but it automatically opened up to this category. So this is a really neat feature because you may have a point of sale register that's handling the range. Maybe you have 2 registers and you want those to automatically open up to the range categories. But you may have other registers that are set up in different areas of the store. Maybe you don't want that category to show. So it's really easy to do that. So let's go back really quick to my inventory and locations. And if I go into my Dallas store, which is where I'm at right now, you'll notice that here's all my registers. We added a default category. So only for POSB, which actually I'm going to just rename to range, I can choose the range rental. This is also where I can switch my interface to a touchscreen interface, which is basically a different looking interface that has all buttons. But I'll leave the interface at the default one. I'll hit save. And I'll go back to my sales screen. And you'll notice here that I already have the lane 1 is being rented. I'll start another rental here. There's no initial price. I can add anything that's associated with that rental. I can pick the customer. So in this case, I'll just choose Joe Smith. And maybe they're purchasing some ammo, or maybe they're getting some targets to shoot. So again, this is all the options you can just add to the transactions. You can also set up rental firearms, and I wouldn't set those up as rental items unless they're rented by a time period. If it's just a single price, which a lot of ranges offer, for $10 additional, you can just rent this particular firearm. I would just add that as an item, and again, that would be added to the sale. So we'll just pull up, thought I had some ammo here. So, I can say, okay, they're getting 2 boxes. All right, so now I'm building up my transaction and I'm sending them to the actual lane. And I'm going to say, okay, here's their start date and time. And I'm checking them out now. They're going to go on the lane at 8 a.m., which is a few minutes from now. Just hit okay. And you'll see the rental start date shows up right there. So let me go ahead and complete this transaction, but I'm going to suspend it, right? Because it's the start of the rental. All right, so now they can go to the lane. They can start using the lane. They can order more product. Anytime they order more product, I can bring up the transaction. But here's a really neat feature. So let me go back to my sales. I'll go into new sales. And now I show that lane 3 is occupied. Again, I started the rental at 8, or maybe I put in 9, but that can be edited. So the neat thing is I can just click this button and it brings up the transaction. You don't need to look up the suspended transaction. So yeah, it looked like I put in the wrong, I don't remember changing it, but we'll go ahead and make sure it was set for 8. I must have clicked my mouse by mistake. So 8 a.m. it started. They're using the lane. You can add items, add targets, and then just suspend the transaction each time. All right, so when we're ready to complete the rental, in this case, I'll just pull up this particular rental. And we'll just put in the rental end date. Maybe someone forgot to finish this rental in this case because they've been there for a couple of days. Obviously, that's not a great example, but I can also just change it right here and the rental started at 5:48. So let's see, it finished at 7:56 p.m. I can hit OK, and the system will calculate the charge. And again, it's based in my example, I'm using 10-minute increments of billing. All right, and when I'm ready, I can check that customer out. They already gave me some cash, so I can complete the transaction. The remaining balance is $54. I can choose credit card, gift card. You can do a multi-tender transaction, complete the sale. In this case, we have the tip screen set up. I'm not going to give a tip, and I'll click OK. And we are done with this rental. So that gives you an example of using the rental features. The beauty of suspending a transaction is that if you have multiple registers, maybe you're using some tablets, you can just bring up that transaction very quickly, add items. Maybe they need more targets, they need more ammo. You can keep building. Maybe you've got a little cafe, so you can keep adding to their transaction. Maybe they want to purchase other items, and then you can complete the transaction. So the rental features, I spoke specifically about the lanes and the ranges, and I forgot to mention one really important feature. When I'm setting up the lanes, and hopefully all of you are watching the entire video, but when I go to my lane reservation, one checkbox that I want you to make sure that you check when you specify that it's a rental item for your range lanes, each lane is a unique item that can only be rented one at a time. So make sure you check this single rental item box. That's really important. So hopefully all of you are still watching and you see that checkbox. That will prevent it from letting you rent the lane multiple times. So it's only one person on a lane at a time. Now, if you need the reservation capability, if you need the ability to allow customers to sign up for classes, we have all of those features. That's part of our core shop. If you are a range that needs those features, let us know and we can get you set up and show you how to use online reservations. You'll have a calendar. You've got ability to set up memberships. You've got ability to set up classes and class registrations. It's a phenomenal feature. Let us know if you're not currently using it. We'll be glad to set you up with all of those features, and we're excited about the rental capabilities. We're waiting for feedback. I'm sure, being this is our first iteration, we'll get some really good ideas from our customers, and we look forward to working with you. Thank you for watching this video.